What is up, Hollow Cult? We're here. So you know what that means. It's Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody that's in here now, be sure to hit the like and subscribe and notification bell. Yeah, on YouTube.
Something like that.
Something. What is up, everyone? Hope everybody's doing all right. Tons of shitty weather this week all over the place. Hope everybody's safe and holding it together.
Didn't seem like it turned out as bad as it was supposed to, so that's a plus.
No, not here anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked bad coming in. They just kind of dissipated. I fully blame the pollution of Granite City for breaking it all up as it came through.
That's usually what happens. Yeah. Very rarely does any bad weather penetrate that particle cloud.
That is a fact. That is a fact. What's anybody got going on that's weird? Anybody hear any weird news this week? I ain't got a whole lot. I was looking, but this week was kind of crazy.
I know the dang door cams are kind of getting out of control.
Oh, like the rings?
Yeah, like I've been seeing several videos of things being caught on those that are just kind of mind-blowing, really.
That's creepy.
Yeah. Like there was one I saw, it looked, I don't know. It's hard to describe. Like if I had to describe it, it looked like a person overly sneaking through someone's driveway. Like the whole Pink Panther squatted down, tiptoeing. But they almost looked, if I remember correctly, they almost looked see-through. So I don't know if it was a play on the camera itself, but it looked really bizarre. Really, really bizarre.
Yeah, all of that I don't like. If it is a person and it's sneaking around all creepy tiptoey, that's, I don't know what's worse. It being an actual human or it being some sort of being.
I think it would be worse if it was a human sneaking up my driveway.
Yeah.
Personally.
Humans acting like that usually have zero good intentions.
That's what I mean. I'd much rather be an interdimensional being than a human.
Yeah, we don't know what they got
tiptoeing up my driveway.
We don't know the intent.
Unless it's what's his face? I can't think of his name. Riff Raff. Outside of that.
That's still creepy.
Yeah, but it would make sense as to why he's tiptoeing, so.
Yeah. That's weird.
And then I saw another one where it looked like somebody caught a damn gnome on their camera.
That's
like it's like crossing the little road or something, just this little figure.
That's what I was gonna
crossing the road.
Bring up. That's the one that I saw that's been popping here the last couple of days. Was it's in Mexico. Apparently it was recorded a couple years ago from the information I was getting, like 2021, I think. They just released it now. It looks like a tiny person.
Yeah, it's weird.
The person who caught it said that judging by the distance, like comparative to the road and everything, it couldn't be more than 30 centimeters tall. So that's not, I don't know centimeters to inches, but
I don't either, but
probably not.
It's little. It's little. What else? Yeah, my feed on Instagram is all jacked up. It's not even really playing paranormal stuff on there anymore. So it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, that's how my Twitter is too now.
See Twitter say something about the Kendrick Drake psyop. And it's funny that you mentioned that because it's aligned, but not quite on par. But my next episode that'll come out Monday is about selling your soul, essentially. Not like us, but it's people who have. So like started off with like Robert Johnson. I mean, that's just kind of a given. And then we trickle down from there. But Steve showed me a clip of one of my favorite artists. I'm more into his older stuff versus the new stuff. However, it's very peculiar because then I see more of that interview conversation. It pops up on my feed on Instagram the next day.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's the one where Kevin Gates's daughter says, "I practiced magic on my brother yesterday," and Kevin covers her mouth. Well, he's talking to this lady who it was kind of this big debate in the comments. I wish I could pull it up, but people were, because Kevin says something in there about how he commands 10,000 angels, and the lady almost like kind of mocks him in a way, like about him and God and stuff like that. But it made me, because the people were debating in the comments about if he essentially made a deal in the beginning and now he is working his way away from that and finding God, like we talk about in the episode with another artist. But then the other side of the coin was, no, he is also a deceiver. He is also bathed in darkness. He is also under possession or influence. And so it was a big toss-up debate about which way it went. And then there was somebody in the, obviously you have to take this with a grain of salt, but there was somebody in the comments who said they could read auras and they actually ran into Kevin in a crystal shop out in LA or something like that. And the dude was like, he was completely surrounded in blackness. But it's all weird timing. The fact that you're talking about it, you show me just that little snippet, and then it pops up on my feed in a longer dialogue. I would like to find, because supposedly from the comments, it's a situation that he has talked with this lady many times on his lives. And I don't know that. I don't know really any more context than that, but it's hard to decipher, is because he even brings up, he's like, why do you talk through familiars? Why don't you talking to me face to face? Why are you using familiars?
That's weird.
Just the conversation is weird, super weird. And she acts like she personally knows Kevin and his daughter by the way she was talking, because he said something about how she's real good with children, yada, yada, yada. And that lady's like, oh, I know she is. And it was just really fucking bizarre.
Yeah, because you would think that if it was somebody he wasn't close with, he wouldn't have his daughter there.
Right.
Like
and they also, everybody was saying that she's nothing more than a random fan, but it's also somebody that he's had on his live several times.
Which is weird. If that's
super weird.
That's true. And you think of the context that we found that video in. That was digging through old demon workers' past videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
It popped up.
Yeah, that's where we saw that video.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird when you look when you start looking into it and noticing more, and I wish I would have known about that prior writing the episode, because I would have ran that down more and got more context on it. But I didn't figure it out until, we're sitting right there getting ready to record. And it's kind of go time at that point. There's not a whole lot of time left to chase everything down.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, it's interesting to think that legitimately, or almost, because where's the line then? Where's the line between artists who don't do that and then they do that? Where's that line?
Yeah, and once you make that deal, once you make that pact, like, is there really any working your way back out of it? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Because it is a proposable question. I guess I could understand it this way. So say at that given point in time, you are not a good person. You're going down this dark path and you're like, this is what I'm going to do. All I want to do, I want to get rich and famous, and I want the world. I'm going to Scarface it. And then you make that deal. So your intention is, for lack of better words, pure in that moment. Right? But then as time moves forward, you either begin to ponder, or you see that you find the light, whatever the case may be. And then you start to reverse that process. I think it's likely that you can reverse that process at that point. However, I think it's a different ball game when you mentally are like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to trick the devil that I'm going to sell. I mean, I'm going to sell him my soul. But all I have to do in the back end is call on God and cleanse myself. In the meantime, I'm going to get all my rich and fame, minus, giving up my soul, but I know that I'll get it back. Like, I feel like if you chose that road, I don't think that you're going to pull a fast one, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because in the end, your deal could be refused because they know your intentions aren't pure, or, quote unquote pure. I shouldn't, it's about the best word I have for it right now. But, and then on the other side, like, what if you made that deal and then your backdoor plan fails? Big guy upstairs is like, oh no, you were playing a game that you shouldn't have been playing to begin with. Like, this was your agreed intention through and through.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't see it. I just don't see it panning out. But then you have the dialectic, that all is forgiven in the end, as long as you fully, accept, God in your life and move forward. But it's definitely a bizarre morality conundrum at that point, because in my head, it is more forgivable for the person that hardcore walked the left-hand path, so to speak, and then later on is like, this is like, what the fuck have I become? Like, this is not right. Like, I've been a terrible, terrible person. Like, I really need to change my life. And all of that statement, all of it is true. There's no, like, playing the game, so to speak. Then that's more forgivable, right, in my current mind, than you going in with that intention of trying to make a fool out of both sides. Like, you're the superior one in the whole thing. I just don't I just don't find that to be as forgivable. Because that shows clear deceitful intention.
Yeah, I feel like in that context, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm torn in that whole situation. Like, if you're, I don't know, just the willingness to sell yourself out for something. If you do believe in spirituality and all that stuff, being like, hey, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, right? But I'm gonna do the opposite of that to get good, to get where I need to be. And then toward the end, I'm gonna be like, well, maybe this wasn't the right choice. I don't know. When it comes to that kind of stuff,
it's weird. It's a weird thought process, because you're right. In the end, you shouldn't even contemplate your soul as a bargaining chip. That shouldn't even be on the table. However, I guarantee everybody listening and everybody on the face of the planet has made extremely poor decisions at one point in their life. Like our mindset 10, 15 years ago is infinitely different than where we are today.
Yeah.
So that's overall what I mean as like a forgiveness. Like, people do change, whether you want to admit that or not. It is possible to change and to better yourself. Some people here are living proof of that. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's just a bizarre thing to sit down and consider. And it's even more bizarre the fact that things like that in life, it's really not even that bizarre, to be honest with you, in the end, but it's crazy that things like music, like sports, like politics, like all of it could potentially be gatekept by situation and contracts like this.
100%.
Which is fucking crazy to me.
I mean,
because it could be as simple as like us being approached by said network and being like, we want you on our network. You guys are fantastic. We think you'd be a great addition. And we look it over and we're like, listen, this just ain't for us. All right, that's cool. That's cool. We have no problem with that. And then in the back channels, they put up every brick wall possible. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to be blatant with the process. They can just shut down every single channel avenue that you try to chase. No, Steve and Kyle, they're so this, that, and the other. Let's block them. And it's just, it's insane that there are people on the planet that have that kind of power.
Yeah, and I mean, what's more influential than the music business across the board? I don't think there's any other form of media that's more influential than music.
No, I'm with you there. I think music is easily the most influential because it is this connection with one's soul that you can't really match it. It's hard to even think of anything that would compare to what music is to people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think politics is that influential. It feels like it sometimes, but across the board, I don't think it is.
I think as far as politics go, like, it's all part of the plan to keep people confused. Because like I don't know, like, because in the end, in my opinion, every system on the planet's man-made, and everything is easily, maybe not easily, because I'm not that intelligent, but it is fixable, right? The state, like debt and money and interest, and it's all part of a man-made thing. And I'm sure there are ways out of it that requires a relatively intelligent person that I don't have the capacity to do that.
I'm just Googling over here, out of the top 5 most followed people on social media, 4 of them are
Musicians.
Well,
Yeah, I believe that.
yeah.
I believe
Selena
that.
Gomez, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, and Ariana Grande.
Right. I without a question believe that. That's just like music is easily an everyday thing.
Yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo is number one with almost 1 billion followers on social media, and he's a soccer player.
But it's just, it's scary to think that the forces of darkness, if you will, have just utterly took over every facet of society. Because you see things every day, and that's the other problem with fucking social media is you don't know who's trying to get their 15 minutes of fame and who's making shit up and who's not. You know, like I saw a crazy thing with chlorine in the water. They took 2 glasses of water and from the same faucet, you know, the video's there, but they put chlorine drops that shows the chlorine in the water turns yellow. And then the other one, somebody was holding their hand in there in the water. And I guess they were going on about how fast chlorine gets absorbed into the human skin. And when they dropped the tablets in there, it was barely changing colors at all. Like they were suggesting the human body would absorb that chlorine so fast. But it's just, I don't know. It's a bizarre topic to go down, but you can also understand why someone would be, you know what? And it almost makes you wonder too, is how many people in today's world would even think that, like, if somebody came up to you and was like, they brought you a perfect contract, you're going to make millions, you're going to be famous, like your life is forever changed. All you got to do, Steve, all you got to do is sell your soul, bud. Just sign these documents, buddy. You know how it is. I don't think anybody would take that serious. They take that comment serious. I think they would just laugh about it and be like, right, yeah, I get it, you know. Sign the paperwork and on you go.
Yep. And man, I don't know. Again, it's got my brain reeling now about souls and soul currency and nefarious forces. Maybe the nefarious forces are a lot more human than we think. Maybe it's just this upper echelon of the elites making these contracts, garnering these souls, our souls, whoever signs it, whatever, you know, as a bargaining chip themselves for something else out there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, you hear all the time, why are extraterrestrials interested in humans? What makes a human different than, you know, any other species across the entire galaxy? And a lot of people say it's because humans are self-aware. Humans have consciousness. Humans have souls. So if it's got that much power, you know, the top 0.0001% are going to try to get at it.
Yep, and it's just, I mean, it's really it's a perfect system for them to win because it takes a strong individual to basically tell them to shove it. You know, especially when you're a famous football player, a famous musician, a politician, anybody that has a light shined on them, I feel like it would put you in the hot seat if they were like, Steve, listen, you can't talk about this. Yeah, but it's not right. Like we, you know, this is wrong. It doesn't matter how you feel about this, Steve. You have to keep on the straight and narrow, because if you start leading with your morality, then we're gonna pull all your contracts and you're gonna go back to being a bum. And so most people are gonna do what they ask every time because they don't want what they've already committed to be taken from them. And so in a roundabout way, that's another form of, quote unquote, selling your soul. You are handing over everything that you believe in for essentially a paycheck.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, I've even pondered on the invention of currency to actually be the mark of the beast. I don't know why my mic keeps cutting out. But sometimes I ponder that money itself is the mark of the beast, not what all these futuristic things that with the microchips and stuff that people talk about. I think money is probably one of the biggest negative influences in our lives, whether we acknowledge that or not. Because most of the time, it's what gets everybody stressed out. It's what people fight over.
Oh, yeah.
It's I don't know. It has put this unrealistic value on life, so to speak.
Yeah, everybody, every adult centers their life around it. And you have to. We've been forced into a system.
Yeah.
You're forced.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I mean. Like and if you and that's why I say it's a perfect system, because if you don't play it by the rules, then you're homeless. You have nowhere to go. A lot of people could sit here and argue, well, you could go and live off the land. Well, I also beg the question, how many people in the world, well, at least around where we live, know how to do that? Furthermore, find property that isn't technically owned by this or that. Because almost everywhere you're going to get arrested for trespassing. And they've completely taken away almost all knowledge, general knowledge, on how to survive on your own. And then in some places, it's a law that you have to have at least one form of connection to the grid. That's a law.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, they just want to keep you a cog in the machine, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see that intricate spider web. From what my interest on that day was looking at music and evil forces gatekeeping that, and then just kind of watch it trickle out across the board. It's fascinating, but at the same time, it's terrifying that things are that simple. Because it sounds all intricate and stuff, but even if you removed the paranormal from it, you take that out of the conversation, it's still shitty people being shitty, to say the least. It's still people who are like, well, I don't, something about Steve, I just don't like him. Let's not fuck with him. Let's not sign him. Let's not let him get signed. Let's not let him prosper. I don't like him. I don't like his view on bacon. So fuck him. And that's how petty we'll be.
Yeah, it would be interesting to be able to sit down and talk with someone who would be willing to open up about that side of the industry.
Unfortunately, we probably won't reach out to any of those people.
Yeah.
Because most of them you can't even contact anyways.
Yeah.
But I can, and I do plan on reaching out to somebody, I'm pondering it anyways, about the whole process, because the whole process of selling your soul. Who he claims to be a black magician and speaks on it in a very peculiar way that's just interesting. I don't quite understand it, but I think if we both sat down, things would click into place. And it's at the end of the day, it's information that we're going to walk this line, then we should probably at least know what a little bit of the other side knows.
Yeah, we're a platform. That's what we do.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I watched, for the end of my episode, I watched a black magician talk about selling your soul. And he gave pointers, which I would never do, but he gave pointers of what you should do if you plan on going that road. But even he's like, you should never, ever, 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 no matter what, you should never sell your soul. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. To anything. Not the devil, not a spirit, not nothing. Never sell your soul. Ever.
I think that is the creepiest takeaway from that whole episode that we recorded, that you can, like, the devil's not the only purchaser out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't think that, because when you think about selling your soul, there's one person that would roll off your tongue.
Yeah.
But he throws it across the board. He's like, not to nothing.
Which is terrifying.
He's like, you do that, they own you.
Yeah. Bob Tacular's got a point as I go to work tomorrow, selling my soul for a few hours.
That black magician brings that up, my friend.
At it. I did reach out to Marilyn Manson. We didn't hear anything back. So
you're right, Eric. We have no idea what the soul is, at least by measurable standards.
That's a point I was going to make, but I thought it'd come across too. People would get all bent when if I said it. Like, we put value to pieces of paper and we accept that. How do we know what a soul's worth?
I mean, in my opinion, if you look at it at a grand scheme, there's nothing that would match up to it in all reality. Because if something has the capability of, I guess the way I see it is, your soul is the next form to the afterlife. But if you give it to something willingly, then essentially you're willingly putting yourself in prison for eternity, not your lifetime, not a life sentence in prison. We're talking eternity. And it has complete and utter control over you, which is terrifying.
Oh, the character outside of this experience.
So I don't know. That's where my mind has been the past couple of days, just kind of pondering on that. Because there's more that I wish I would have been able to talk about in that episode, kind of elaborate more, which is nice that we have the night shift and I can kind of like have a second to think about it and then swing back around, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those weird morality, like, self-awareness kind of conundrums. Like, what is a soul? What would a soul be worth? Like, how do you define a soul? If you sold your soul, would you even know it?
That's a good question. That would be interesting to hear, I guess, experts, if you will, their opinion on that.
Yeah.
If you were able to sell it, would you even know that it's gone?
And for that matter, like they said, like Eric says, is it worth one single life of fame and fortune to sell your soul? What makes this human form so special that we have the ability to sell it for the rest of eternity.
There is opposing thoughts that I've heard about that too. That you can't. It's impossible to sell. There is no contract. It can't be done. But there's mountains of evidence that also go against that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that camp, Bob. You can't sell it. Yeah. And then you hear soul, like they mentioned about Lazar talking about this, like our human forms are just containers, containers for our souls.
Yeah. Okay. So with that thought in mind, and these people saying that it's impossible to sell your soul, but what if by selling it, you're just essentially shackling it? Because in a different line of thinking, couldn't our current form right now be a form of shackle?
Yeah, could be.
Because it is elsewhere than with the Creator. We are elsewhere.
And for that matter, everybody's so protective of it. I would never sell it. Yada, yada, yada. How do you know it wasn't sold fucking 2,000 lifetimes before you? You just shit out of luck.
Also a valid point.
Like, that sucks. Oops.
Also, it's a valid question.
I don't know. I get wrapped in my brain about this. I guess sometimes we have these conversations and they plant just these worms in my head. And then they just kind of work their way around and I get to thinking about it.
Well, that's the other one. Like Nate was saying, when do they harvest your soul? Which is kind of, getting back to what you said earlier. Would you know if you did sell it? Do they pull it that instant, or is it essentially POD, payment on death? How does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If you take
kind of like what Bob was saying there, born into servitude.
You hear all these horror stories about like soul recycling and don't go toward the light and all this shit, and I don't know. Hey, Holo Cult, the weather's getting nice, and you know what that means? It's cryptid hunting season. And the first rule to cryptid hunting is good footwear. That's why we're excited to announce our partnership with Tecovas boots. When you're out hunting the dogman or stalking chupacabra, you don't have time to break in boots. That's why Tecovas is so nice. They have first wear comfort. It's hard to find this level of comfort paired with their styles when you're out hunting cryptids.
And let me tell you, their styles are on point. I've always considered getting me a pair of snakeskin boots, and their pair is mint. They also have crocodile boots, caiman boots, ostrich boots, regular leather boots. They have it all, and it's ridiculously awesome. You can even stop by the local Tecovas store, have a complimentary drink or two, and shop new styles. The smell of fresh leather and a friendly staff are at your service. Many stores even have leather custom branding to make your boots truly personalized. And with regular live music and events, there's no in-store experience like it. So just imagine yourself getting a pair of legitimate snakeskin Holosky branded boots. How awesome would that be?
Nothing is going to intimidate a dogman like a nice pair of gator skin boots. If you can't make it into a store, just visit Tecovas.com. That's Tecovas.com. They offer free shipping on all boots, as well as free returns and exchanges, and ship right to your door. Go to Tecovas.com and find your new favorite pair of boots today.
Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.
I don't know what to think, honestly.
I don't either, but it is. Like I said, because of writing that episode, it's been kind of where my mind has jumped down. And ironically enough, it has slowly wormed its way into my feed, like I said, with the Kevin Gates thing. And then I actually did see an interview today, scrolling through my feed, where a man said when he died, he went to hell, and it fucking sucked. He said he just essentially, in his time there, which I'm assuming wasn't very long, it was probably one of them where his heart stopped. They were able to start his heart back up. But he said all these other condemned souls almost immediately just started attacking him. He was having to essentially fight for his life in that short time that he was down there. They were just attacking him.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
And Nate, that kind of comes up in the episode with, these people that meet untimely demises when they make these deals. Because you look at Robert Johnson, he dies at 27. You even look back at the Black Cube episode, Arthur Morrow. Supposedly he met a very bizarre end, from what Steve was able to track down.
Yeah, it just said, what was it? Unexplained death?
Something to that nature.
I didn't find any details, but and then, I mean, since we're on this path, it makes you wonder what our old buddy, Egress agent, wanted us to do when they wanted us to come down to the Devil's Crossroads last August. Which somebody pointed out, Agent John Smith did pop up in a YouTube comment. And I went to dig and the YouTube profile, I guess it is, for lack of a better term, was created almost exactly when they posted it. So he's still out there trolling.
And do his thing.
He's still out there.
Much love,
trolling. Which I got a pretty good idea. A lot of times when this kicks up, somebody else will kind of kick up. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'll tell you later, Kyle. So,
yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. It's weird stepping back and seeing things.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the paranormal and spirit stuff is easily overlooked. I think things can be reaching out to you and you just constantly overlook them and have no idea.
Yeah, and it's a weird episode because a lot of the music industry isn't even hiding it anymore. Like whether
weird.
it be like all the weird Illuminati shit, or like the example I always put out is like Young Dolph. He releases watch the video for Talking to My Scale. Like there is so much iconography in there, and it's blatant, it's purposeful. Like they didn't hide it. But even the lyrics, if I sacrifice myself, will I go to hell? Like the conversation's there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he ends up.
It's weird, man.
He ends up murdered in his hometown at a bakery picking up cookies for his grandma. It's fucked up.
It is weird. It's weird. And I don't know, man. And it just seems like, to me, it just seems like honestly, it seems like a shit deal. If like, because I know a lot of us think about the glamorous side of life, right? Not even being like balling out of control rich, but it's the simple things. Like, it would be cool to have a little bit of land, a couple 4-wheelers the fam can just ride around on and have a good time. Like, just kind of do our thing. That requires a significant amount of money that a lot of us don't have. So it's easy to get sucked into those things. But I was just having that conversation with John the other day, as a matter of fact. And I'm like, in the end, I think I would just rather be poor and happy. I mean, it's hard. It's hard as fuck right now to catch a W. There's a whole lot of L's being handed out currently. But for me, it's not even remotely close to being worth even possibly entertaining the thought of giving up something like my soul for a few years of having a lot of money. That doesn't seem like a fair trade.
Yeah, I agree. We already know we can work.
Even if it was 100 years of being balling out of control. I mean, I could buy whatever I wanted whenever I wanted.
I think
when you lay that next to eternity,
we need to make
kind of an easy decision.
A shirt for the store that just says "balling out of control."
I mean, I'm okay with that.
That'd be money. Then we'd be one step closer to getting rich. Problem solved. No souls sold.
True. True. It's true.
Can we really sell what's only borrowed? Probably.
And you know what's crazy, Rosemary? When I was listening to that Black Magician, he has like a bizarre explanation as to like why our souls get placed here. Some of us have a purpose and some of us are just here. It's I can't remember all of it because I was kind of trying to multitask, got a lot going on Saturday, but it was very interesting the way he worded all of it. Now, it doesn't mean that I believe his explanation to all of it, but it's very interesting as a thinking point, and maybe even more so to have that tidbit of knowledge taken in, and then Steve and I can expand on that and kind of write our own conclusions or take it into consideration when, you know, learning about this selling your soul business, so to speak.
I mean, I don't know. Clearly there's something to it because
was taken seriously enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of people,
and that's a good counterpoint there for everybody saying it's impossible. Like you said, there's got to be something to it because
fuck ton of people trying.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, I don't know. Because essentially, I don't know. There's got to be if you go the fame route, if say music, period, like everybody from the artist up has to have their fingers in it because, you know, like, the record label's got to push and everybody from there on up have to push this person to the moon. I mean, a prime example, who was the Redbeard psyop guy that was talking about fudge rounds and shit, and like everybody was hard about him for like 6 months, just came out of nowhere?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Damn it, I can't remember his name.
Oh, the music guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know
feel
you're
like
talking
that's a
about.
pretty good
Yeah.
example of just blowing up out of nowhere.
Yeah, Richmond, north of
Yes.
Richmond guy.
Yes.
I can't think of his name, but yeah, I know you're talking
Tell
about.
me that guy wasn't in some contract somewhere.
It's possible.
I feel like he's just as good a candidate as anybody else because nobody knew who the fuck he was, and then he was everywhere.
It is. It's those situations are bizarre. They're bizarre, man. Oliver Anthony, that's it.
Now nobody knows where the fuck he went. You signed a shitty contract, my guy.
It's great, and it's crazy that people can jump on and fall off that fast.
Nate, he's a psyop.
Could be.
If Drake and Kendrick's a psyop, that dude had just as much coverage. Crooning to a specific working class. And then he just shut up about it. It was like, fuck him.
That's what it says. He's on tour.
Good for him.
I hope so. I mean, I hope he's doing good.
Could give a shit.
It doesn't affect me one way or the other, but it is
not a contract with the record label, Twiz. A contract with the devil.
Yeah, that was the reference made. I hope he didn't, but you never know. But those ones, it's like we were talking about, it's kind of like that. Sometimes when artists break through, it's like buying a car and then all of a sudden you start seeing that car everywhere. It's weird when you're the one that finds that artist. So does, you're the one that hears it first, and then all of a sudden it trickles around you and just kind of manifests itself to everybody else. Like it's like this little contagion, so to speak, that gets spread across to everybody all of a sudden. You're like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy that you found them too. And which, of course, there could be a million different explanations as to how that happens, but that's equally an interesting thought. It's even weirder sometimes that, like I said, when you buy a car and then all of a sudden you see them everywhere.
Okay, hear me out. I know I've got the Oliver Anthony fans stirred up in the chat now. He found religion and wrote the song 30 Days Later. That sounds a lot like our guy at the Devil's Crossroads who sold his soul and then learned how to play the guitar pretty damn good and write bangers.
I mean, it's not true. Because that's what they did say about Robert Johnson, was that he was a fucking terrible, terrible artist. And then 6 months later, he comes back and he's super shredder. He's writing them tasty licks.
You can't sit on one side of the fence and call what you see on the other side of the fence as being right when it's exactly the same as the other shit on the other side of the fence. Damn, they are stirred up. I didn't mean to get all the fucking Oliver Johnson, whatever the fuck his name is, all stirred up. I kind of did.
I think End Times is talking about the blues player.
Whoever. Just saying. Dude came out of nowhere. Despite what religion he found, what contracts he signed. Twiz, I didn't say you specifically.
Guilty conscience.
I guess it just depends. It just depends on who you sell your soul to, whether you're evil and greedy or not.
I mean, I don't know. I don't value selling my soul regardless, so I'm gonna go ahead and hang on to that. I'm gonna hang on to it. So no, I don't know. I just found it to be an interesting
hold on. Someone literally said he found religion. So that's what I was going off of.
Yeah.
Did he or didn't he?
Who knows,
I don't
man?
know. Whatever. I don't give a shit. But I'm just saying that's a pretty good fucking example.
I mean, I definitely see the comparison. But we don't know his backstory. Like I said in the I think I said it in the episode. We don't know somebody's backstory. We don't know if they've been playing for 30 years to get somewhere and then finally he catches a break. We don't know that. Or is it literally an overnight success?
Who would be more apt to sell their soul? Someone that was
know.
struggling for 30 years not being able to make it? Or someone that picked up a guitar
Also true.
and was like,
Also
hey.
true. Also true. I definitely foresee the 30-year struggler more apt to it than someone who just picked it up.
Trying to follow in the chat now.
Now everybody's confused. Everybody's confused. We're all confused at this point. We have derailed. I'm going to open the line. If you want to tell us about it, tell us about it. If you're in the mood to conversate. If not, that's fine. We'll keep going for a little bit more. Chris Angel, Mind Freak.
I wish he would come on the show.
That would be cool. He is a black magician. That dark art shit.
Bledsoe has a UFO cult. I do. I wish that these all-knowing, all-powerful, all-purposeful beings that he keeps in contact with could figure out a way to make living not as expensive.
Nah, that's true. We got a phone call. Let's see what they got to say. Hey, welcome to the night shift. What's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing this evening?
Wonderful.
Good. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I got 2 points from last week because you told me to save them.
Oh,
let's do it.
Copy that.
So John Greer, y'all were mentioning how he said you're not gonna get contacted until you're ready.
Correct.
Right. In John Greer's case, that means you're not going to get contacted until you've paid him enough.
That might be true.
You know, because isn't he the guy that charges like $5,000 to go out in the desert and do the CE5 thing?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but I mean, literally everything at this point in the world is a money grab scheme. So,
right. And then you guys were going on also about a PDF file that you found, and I wanted to point out a website to you if you don't know about it. It's called the Internet Sacred Text Archives.
Mm-hmm.
That's got all sorts of old religious and magical texts in text file and PDF for free. You can go download them and read all sorts of things.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, it's really easy to find. I think it's ISTAR maybe, or no, ISTA. I think it's just ISTA.org or .com, but it's really easy to look up, you know. So
yeah, that's awesome. That is definitely going to be useful.
Yeah, I think you guys will like that a lot.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Much appreciated.
Sacred Text, is that what you said? Internet Sacred Text Archives?
Yeah.
Right on.
And they're kind of cool too. They if you are willing to fork out some cash to them, they will send you a complete copy of the archive on a DVD, so you can even have it, you know, locally in case you're into that sort of thing.
That's pretty
some
wild.
Physical media. That is pretty rad.
Yeah, it's always good to have that kind of stuff as a backup if you know, just in case sites go down.
Oh, for sure.
So, but anyway, that's about all I have, I think.
Awesome, man.
Oh, wait. We were talking about, you guys were talking about Yeah. People being possessed. You didn't hit upon it, probably rightly so, but I'm going to bring it up. You should look at some of the evangelical preachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever, so I'll talk about this one specifically because he's dead and it doesn't matter anymore. But Pat Robertson is an example. I will almost tell you that he was possessed. I've met him twice in person, and he just had this, it was kind of weird. He had this light about him, right? So there was this kind of light about him, but when you got close enough to him, it felt like oily and slimy. It was really a strange, weird feeling that you got from him.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And this is, this is back in the 80s when I met him. So he was, still relatively young-ish and new on his broadcasting network. And then his co-host, Ben Kinchlow, though, he was like the real thing. He was what he projected on TV to be. So, and I think that's probably why he got fired from the job, because he wasn't, like Pat was. But then
it makes sense that some of those people would be possessed.
Yeah, and the only other one that I have that I will mention is, and you can judge for yourself whether you think it, Matt, if you think it's right or not, is pay attention to Joel Osteen. Watch his eyes.
Yeah.
As he preaches.
That was one of the ones that first
if
popped into my head when you were talking about it.
Yeah. Watch his eyes, because you'll catch it. And as far as
they turn black or something?
Sometimes.
That's disturbing.
Yeah. So, but it's also, there's like this look that you get that just, you'll know it when you see it. It's hard to explain, but you can definitely pick up on it if you're looking for it.
Right.
And then as far as trying to get someone online, why don't you, I don't know if he'll do it for you. Why don't you try contacting Tony? Because he had that supposed Grand High Wizard on.
Right.
Maybe he'll give you the contact information for that guy.
Right. Yeah, he might.
And you can talk to him. I don't know if, what your relationship is with him or not, but.
Who, Tony?
Anyway. Yeah.
No, I was just texting him before the show, as a matter of fact.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of checking in, seeing how things were going.
So anyway, I guess that's all I got for this evening.
Well, it's much appreciated, man. Definitely got some good information and possibly some topics to look into. I've never really thought about priests or pastors who are possessed.
It happens.
I mean, it makes sense. It's about being a deceiver.
Probably.
Yeah. I'm like.
Oh, I was gonna say probably prime targets, essentially.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, and even schools. Like, I went to a Christian high school, and you could literally, and I don't know if he was possessed for certain, but you could literally feel a wall of malice proceed down the hallway when the director of the school was walking down the hallway.
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
It was the strangest thing. It just would precede him, and it would hit you hard, even if you weren't the target. It just preceded him. It was scary as hell.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's the best way to deceive a flock.
That's all I got.
Deceive the shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've I guess I've just never really thought about it too much in depth, but I'm kind of glad you brought it to light. because it does make sense. And like Steve said, it's a prime position to be in.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And there are a lot of folks that's the case, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then I mean, not that I'm attempting to save face in any way, but you also, possess that position and then get that said entity to do nefarious acts. Well, that taints the religion and taints the church, and it taints everything, makes everything look bad. So it's all about deceiving, and that's fucking crazy to think about. Absolutely crazy to think about.
Well, if you know anything about, Revelation, if you follow that at all, they it's kind of indicated that kind of stuff is going to happen to the church, eventually.
No kidding. I haven't read really any of it, to be honest with you, but that's interesting to know.
Yeah, I don't try to pay too much attention to it because of the fact that I prefer if I think about it, I actually just prefer the verse that Jesus says, no man knows the day. So it doesn't really matter if you look for these things or not. If you're a Christian, you're not going to be able to tell when it's going to happen anyway. So just as, live your life, because there's no reason to look for this stuff, because it's just going to scare you.
Right.
And you're going to see stuff there where maybe none actually exists.
Just drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of folks out there that seem to do that.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But anyway. So, stay weird, guys.
Thanks, you as well, brother.
Yeah, and and the other tagline is do better.
Do better.
No doubt. No doubt.
Hell yes.
All right. Have a good
one. Stay safe, man. My friend.
Love. Yeah, it's not something I really ever considered for whatever reason.
Like, if you think about my experience with the priest, Father Machado, the one who could essentially cleanse souls or whatever he was doing, there was that call on Coast to Coast. A woman called in, and they were at a conference where Father Machado was leading the communion, and they said once it got to the point of him handling the Eucharist, it sounded like something was trying to get into the building, like beating on the doors, beating on the windows. And
it would be awesome to be able to talk to that man.
Yeah,
and hear those stories firsthand. Yeah, because it is a question that I would definitely ask. Could be especially with Machado, because I have your firsthand accounts of him. How often do you get attacked? And have they ever put you on edge? Have they ever annoyed you? Have they ever downright terrified you? All the above. I want to know where on the scale have they all been, if at all. Maybe you don't take it as whatever answer you give. I really want to hear that.
It would be interesting to hear an archive of his experiences.
Oh, dude,
what's that podcast?
I bet it'd be amazing.
What was that podcast that we were listening to about the demonic possessions? I can't think of the name of it.
I know.
The Exorcist Files.
That's it.
Where they had the priest actually sit in, and he was talking about the exorcisms and people that have had oppression, have had possession, and all this. Kind of getting to... I guess we don't get the curtain peeled back very much, outside of grandiose movies and shit. To hear it straight from someone who deals with it, because hearing about him witnessing some of these things that are so off the wall, and then him going and having dinner at a Mexican restaurant afterwards and talking about it, or getting himself pumped up to getting ready to go. It's
so question to you and everybody in the chat, everybody listening. Why do you think that is? Why do you think those stories aren't told more?
I feel like the church has, especially the Catholic Church, has very, very strict confidentiality with the people they work with. Like if you,
but wouldn't it further their agenda if they wouldn't? I'm not saying that they should give out people's names and extreme details, but wouldn't it further their cause to put those stories out there somewhere?
maybe, but it could also open a lot of doors that they probably don't want to open. Like putting their information out there, you know, what they do, their rights, all of that stuff. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like if that section of truth was given, I feel like more people would be like, fuck, you know, maybe there is something to this evil that I need to reevaluate my life. Because that man over there, whereas I might think this shit's crazy, I might think that being possessed by a demon is that shit crazy. But that old man sitting over there, you can see the conviction in his eyes. You can hear it in his voice. At the end of the day, that man believes whatever he's talking about. So maybe I need to take a step back. Maybe I need to reevaluate my life and my life choices.
Could be. And
I'm not. It's not going to work for everybody. I'm not saying that it's a catch-all.
But it also, I mean, it also could be like, I'm like, could the public handle it? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of.
I think we fall back on that too much.
I don't know, man. We saw
personally, that's me.
Fist fighting for toilet paper.
I get that. I do. And I get it. I get the same thing for aliens, interdimensional beings. I get that. But dude, reality is reality. You can't fucking run from it. Because at that point, that's like saying we have evidence that all the missing 401 people are being snatched up by aliens. We'll just run with that narrative. We have that evidence. And guess what? We're not going to tell anybody about it. We're not going to tell you because they'll freak out about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep letting people go into these hot spots and get taken by aliens. That's what we're going to do.
Which is, I mean,
we're just going to turn our head. Fuck it.
This is exactly what's happening now.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just as evil and fucked up as if you tell people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a question of morality. I think it's a question of keeping people under control.
Yeah. Well, yeah, control, but I just feel like reality is reality. It just is what it is. When they say, "Hey Steve, you owe $50,000 in taxes," you don't get to just go, "No."
No.
I'm just going to look this way.
You're like putting us in the same echelon as the up and ups. You know what I mean? Like they don't look at
I get it.
We do.
I get it. No, I get it. I do. Let's see what this dude's got to say. Hey, welcome to the night shift. What's going on?
Yo.
I'm in selling my soul for working all day.
There you go.
What do you mean reality is reality?
He told you guys in the song.
This whole conversation we're having proves reality is subjective, because some people are in chat and some people in part of this conversation believe God is real and believe they'll go to heaven, and some people don't. And that's reality. And they're okay. The moon landing.
That's a way different bracket. That's like saying trees or whatever you want them to be.
They are the
fuck they are. They're trees.
The tree is perceived by the beholder
as a fucking tree.
Okay, what is a tree to an ant?
We're not an ant.
we're all live beings,
you can't
aren't we?
forever. You can't. No, this is the problem when people argue. You can't fucking forever zoom out.
Why?
Because
Why
you
can't
can't do that. That's
It's all life experience.
no, you can't forever because then the argument never gets settled. The debate never gets settled because people just keep zooming out on the picture.
Right, because there is no answer and there is no ending and there is no finish. There is no definition. That's what I was just getting ready to say. The moon landing. Okay, there's video of astronauts on the moon and a capsule landing on the moon and taking off from the moon and coming home. But yet people believe that was all made by Stanley Kubrick in a sound set in California. I mean, it's all the same argument. There's always one person on one side and one person on the other, and the truth lies in the middle.
Okay.
And we can't discount life just because it's different than us.
Well, I mean,
right?
I completely understand your argument, but I think you are overshooting mine. I think you're fabricating your own argument at this point.
You think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill? How dare you?
Because I literally all I said was like reality's reality, facts are facts. If demonic possessions are 100% real and the Vatican are combating those, why not just tell people?
And if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, Kyle.
That doesn't make sense.
As soon as you add if to anything, it opens up the door for me.
No.
And if you make a statement of fact, it still opens up the door for me because I can refute that fact.
No. You are literally living in your own world at that point then.
Okay, so who's to say 8 billion of us on this planet aren't living in our own worlds as it is? And reality is
like
perceived
I said,
by that
you have
person.
Completely overshot my argument. That's what you've
Isn't that what
done.
I do?
I know.
Isn't that what I do?
You have heard mine, and then you went, watch, I'm going to propose an entirely new thing and act like it's Kyle's, but it's definitely not Kyle's. It's mine at this point. That's what you're doing.
Well, it could be yours if you wanted it.
But it's not.
Do you want it?
No.
You can have it if you want.
No, I'm good.
I'm not attached to it.
I'm good.
You sure?
I am positive.
I don't know. I sense some trepidation there.
No, I'm good.
You could want it.
No. You're sensing whatever you want to sense. Because all I'm doing is just making a fact that you have completely overshot the entire situation into a new fabricated system.
Okay. Here's how I'll break it down, right?
No.
You're saying a tree is a tree, right?
I'm enjoying this. Yeah. Carry on.
Okay, so you're standing back looking at a tree, right?
Okay. I love how we go from demons and telling the truth to trees.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay.
You just said a tree is a tree, so I'm just using this as
no, that's because you fabricated something else off to the side. That's why I did.
Hey,
that.
I didn't fabricate nothing. You're putting words in my mouth.
Oh no, you put them in your own mouth. Is what you did.
So a tree is a tree.
Okay.
But as you're looking at that tree, let's say you take a microscope and look at the tree.
Right.
On a microscopic level, that tree is something else. It's an amalgamation of things living together to create that tree. Now,
okay.
Every time we go out and study anything in the world, we find on a mathematical level,
right?
It's all fractals. It's all binary. No matter how deep you get into something, it always turns into ones and zeros.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
How does a computer view a tree?
Tell me.
Ones and zeros.
Okay.
But the tree is still a tree, right?
Sure. At the end of this, Twiz, all you did was prove me right.
how can both be right in the same world if a tree is a tree, but a tree is also ones and zeros? Because it's the viewer, it's the beholder of
No, it's not. It's called reality.
But reality is subjective.
No, not all the time. It's not.
To religious people, it is.
With this isn't a conversation about that at that point. You're talking about a tree. You can't. You don't get to bounce back and forth. You don't get to do that.
Does anybody ask the ant what they think?
Because you don't get to do that.
Exactly. Thank you, Steve.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No.
It's 2 against 1.
Fine. By all means. By all
I don't
means.
give a fuck about the tree.
By all means.
So we can say with as close as definitive as we can that everything we experience through the human condition is reality. But it also has a possibility of being just ones and zeros, and we can't perceive the ones and zeros.
How does it get to ones and zeros?
Because everything on a I've already been over this. Are you keeping up? Mathematically, everything broken down is ones and zeros and fractal. It's all math. On anything that they break down on a molecular level and on a mathematical level, it's all ones and zeros.
Okay.
We are ones and zeros, but we perceive reality through our eyes because we are the observer. So to us, the observer, through our only means of experiencing the world, which is taste, touch, hearing, feeling, seeing, the world is reality according to those senses. But for life that still exists on this planet that don't have human senses, the things are different because they're perceiving them differently.
Are you sure you're not high?
Dude, 100%. If you can count on the sun coming up in the morning, of course.
Because all you did.
But that has nothing to do with what I was saying.
Just like your argument. You literally. No. You're not paying attention.
You're not facing reality.
No, you're not. Because in the beginning of this whole fucking conversation, I said, if that is reality, if that is real, if the fact that they're pulling demons out of people, if by the Vatican stance, this is real, this is 100% reality, why do we not tell people? And then you went into this big fucking scientific process of how a tree evolves down to ones and zeros, which by your own standards, you used a scientific process, which is based in reality. Hence, bringing us back to my point.
Right. Are you ready for the dunk?
Go for it.
Because I'm coming from half court. I got my arm cocked back like Michael Jordan.
You're not half of Michael Jordan.
If demons are the reality that the church perceives and observes, why are there doctors who claim that demonic possession is a chemical imbalance and it can be cured with medicine? Because they're observing two different ways of dealing with a problem, but they're both viewing the same thing. Right?
Yeah, but once again, you are overshooting the entire conversation. You did. All you have done is proven my point that reality is what it is. It is not a made up thing.
Okay, then explain what I just asked you. Demonic possession can be equated to either demonic possession or a chemical imbalance treated by doctors.
Okay.
It's the same behavior, right? The person that is experiencing the behavior is experiencing it in the same way, right? But two different people are looking at it two different ways, looking at the same thing. That's what I'm trying to get.
So
you
they're both right then.
to the path.
They're both right and they're both wrong.
Exactly. Thanks.
No.
Ding, ding, ding. We
No.
finally got there.
No, that's not it. One is right and one is wrong. Per case by case.
Who's to say who's right and who's wrong?
Jesus Christ.
Well, you got me there.
That was
Because the last thing I want to do is attack Jesus Christ on the podcast. Now that'll really kick up a bee's nest.
Yeah, it would. But
at least we're in agreement there.
Overshooting the entire situation, making a mountain out of a molehill is an understatement, Wiz.
And that's what I do. So you're welcome.
You did it excessively well.
For buying 11, 12 minutes of time. So I packed in a whole bunch in just 12 minutes. Imagine what I could do with an hour.
Yeah. A lot of circles.
When are we going to talk about Exit Monday, guys? I brought that up to you like 6 months ago.
I don't even know what you're
Do you
talking
remember
about.
that?
No.
So there's a website called Exit Monday who has brought all of like cataclysms and the way the world's going to end all together from like all the religions and all the thoughts on the matter together in one place, kind of like a Wikipedia of sorts. And you click on each like little tag and it breaks down the thought of like, you know, those, just for an example, like in the 90s, there was that cult that ended themselves because the comet was coming and they thought that was the end of the world, or volcanoes taking out the whole world. It's just an amalgamation of end time prophecies and stuff. And I just think it would be really cool to hear you guys talk about it. That's all.
Well, send some info and I'll look into it.
Did you send the link? Did you post the link in Discord?
Right on. I did.
Yeah, I think.
But by now, who knows where it's at?
I think it was on my phone. And
I can get it again. It's all good, dude. I can get it again. It's no worries. But I'll let somebody else call in and tell everybody how Kyle's wrong.
Go ahead. You can try.
Love you. Bye.
John Smith, thank you so much for your donation, brother. It is greatly appreciated. More than you can imagine. Likewise, Brother John.
Yeah. I was just hanging out.
Above and beyond, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. And when we talk trash on the Idris agents.
Oh, that was an awesome review as well. There we go. Let's see what this next one has. Hey, welcome to the night shift. What's going on?
Hey, it's Big Birdie.
What's up, buddy?
What up, Bird?
Just want to call and say, hey guys, you're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Love you.
Well, thank you so much.
I hope to talk with you guys soon on our podcast here.
Hell yeah, dude.
I hope to talk with you guys soon on our podcast here. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh,
All right. I'll talk with you later.
Catching the echo from the background. I'm like, what is happening? I got it. I got it figured out now.
Yeah, it's confusing me too. It's kind of because I know what is it? They're a little bit later, a little bit behind where we're actually at. I think that's how that works.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to get my schedule changes this week, so going back to the midnight shift, which will put me working every other weekend, and it's gonna probably take some getting used to going back to the old schedule as far as
Hey, welcome to the night shift. What's going
Yo.
on?
How's it going, boys?
What's
Not
up?
bad. How you doing?
Doing good. Just chilling for today. I actually was gonna bring up what that last guy said. I just joined the video and saw he was having issues trying to differentiate mental illness with demonic possession. Correct?
Right.
I'm very familiar with mental disorders. I'm schizophrenic for one, and among other stupid shit. But if you go by the Catholic Church's exorcist criteria, right, there are key paranormal or supernatural aspects to identify someone as possessed. So I think it's very clear, because it drives me crazy. I mean, I had a mother who my mother believed I was demonically possessed, which made it difficult for me to get treatment for most of my life. And I think that people shouldn't get hung up about confusing the two, because although possession has identifying symptoms of mental disorder, that's very minor in compared to the ability to with telepathy, right? And with like levitating objects or speaking different languages in different voices, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the church, by their own admission, they have very rigorous standards that they will put somebody through prior performing an exorcism.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of, demonic possession is also extremely rare. I do believe it's a thing, but it's really confused by a lot of people. And the issue with conspiracy theorists, as myself, if you will, or people are interested in the paranormal, I feel like things get conflated as to be what they're not, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's very hard to, like, as someone who's schizophrenic, it is hard to differentiate what is real and what isn't, you know? But you gotta just look at key facts of the issues.
I see that. And a lot of people, everybody needs to understand that a lot of people, when they jump to these conclusions, they're speaking from their own ignorance. They don't, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in like they're more or less throwing theories, because they don't understand what it's like to be schizophrenic. Half of them don't even know what the fuck it is in the end.
Yeah.
They don't know if it's they don't know anything beyond what schizophrenia says. So a lot of people just are not knowledgeable in those areas. And, there's been, what do you think about the doctors who have worked with that and say that schizophrenia does link up with possession?
I have a friend who brought that up, and we got in a little debate about that. I have had demonic experiences in my life. I actually mentioned a story a while back that you guys read way back about me, some of the experiences. One of them was I'm just skip everything. I used to experiment with different rituals. I was really lost. I didn't know what I was doing, and I messed up one, and I had some sort of malevolent presence in my room. They caused a lot of issues with me. It made me feel extremely hot, and I started getting red. And then my incense box, because I lit an incense for the ritual, flew across the room and hit a wall. And my brother heard the sound, right? So at first I was like, I'm hallucinating. This is not real. But then my brother comes in and says, like, what was that? And he looks at the mess on the ground, and I was like, I don't know. So the thing is, that is one of the identifiers that I was talking about. I don't myself. I believe I've been under demonic attack, and I think you can be extremely vulnerable. People who are demons and malevolent entities are very attracted to vulnerability, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think that they can play a role in deepening or worsening an already troubled time that someone may be going through. But I think that people need to realize that you should seek professional help to get that under control before you can even ponder the concept of it being supernatural in nature, right?
I think I would genuinely agree with that. Yes.
Right.
You should always take, the advice and consideration of your medical provider extremely serious.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there are doctors who consider demonic possession and such, or demonic influence, and I think that is a good sign, kind of, but also not to get people. They shouldn't get carried away with that, because in the end, there are supernatural aspects to the demonic, but there's also what is called in psychology negative symptoms, which there's positive symptoms in psychology is like hallucination, things that add on to what your symptoms are. But negative symptoms are like depression, anxiety, and other definitely negative things that tamper with your daily life. And I think that, like you said, it's very important to focus on the physical. Focus on the physical, because if your physical body isn't prepared to face the demonic, then you're not ready. You need to face the physical before you even consider the supernatural.
Well, it's also a very valid point. I mean, I do fully respect that. But I mean, at the end of the day, especially if I was going through something like that,
right,
regardless of where I stand as far as demons go or whatever, I mean, logically, I would want to go to a doctor first to get, like, it's almost like diagnosing the problem. Like, it's a process of elimination.
Eliminate
right?
what you can eliminate.
And exactly. So you're going to go to your doctor and you're going to get taken care of the best way that you can. I fully 100% support that process.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, if you're going into battle, you need to be well prepared, and you can't run in without your physical or mental health being diminished.
I agree.
And because the supernatural, it is a sort of war. If you're fighting something beyond comprehension, and you're not going to be prepared for it. If you don't have your armor and weapons, and that is your physical wellness as well as your mental stability.
Oh, agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, yeah, it's a great way of putting that if your body is beat down and your mind is beat down, it doesn't matter how good your armor and weapons are, because you're not going to be able to use them.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. I mean, that's all I wanted to bring up. I didn't want to go on a rant or anything. Hope you guys didn't mind.
No, absolutely,
awesome.
man. I think it's a great thing to point out. Absolutely.
And getting to hear it from a perspective who has dealt with both the demonic and mental health.
I think it's good that we try to help those who have similar issues to not get confused and caught up in, their own mind. That's definitely an issue that people like me have, because in the end, if you delve into things that you don't understand without being prepared, you're basically in a cave chasing shadows where there's actual demonic things or evil things, malevolent things that are casting those shadows.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess I never really thought of it like that until I put it together, and yeah.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, that was awesome. I feel like especially once we got into it, we definitely needed to hear that perspective as hosts and as callers and listeners.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm glad I could help you guys out.
Yeah, it's much appreciated, and it's nothing that can't be expressed more. Like, everybody needs to take care of themselves mentally, physically, all of the above. Everybody needs to try to do their best to do that.
Yeah, man, this life's a struggle. You got to make sure that you're prepared and able to not just survive but thrive.
Heard that.
Heard that, man.
Anyway, thanks you guys for having me on. I'll be continuing the stream. You boys have a great day.
Thanks to you as well.
Stay safe out there, my friend.
Will do. God bless.
You as
Much
well.
love. Turn the line down for a second.
It is very informative and positive to get perspectives from people who have like experienced, especially both sides of that coin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I am nowhere near professional enough on either side of that coin, as a exorcist or a doctor to diagnose that issue.
Yeah, I know.
And I can only imagine how confusing it gets, how hard it is, because they're both in their profession. They have to look at it from a certain perspective. You can't. I don't know. At the end of the day, if you're a doctor, you almost have to look at it. You have to look at it as a medical thing first.
It's probably the easiest to eliminate.
Oh yeah.
So just eliminate what you can eliminate and then go from there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he's right. I mean, mental health, physical health, it's all extremely important. And I love how he put it, like you're not going to do shit in a battle with anything if your mental and
you're not good yourself.
Physical health is out of whack.
It makes you wonder how. Well, it doesn't even make you wonder how many. You have to know how many people suffered from mental illness that was wrote off as like demonic possession, especially years past.
Yeah.
Before the advances in mental health, before all that.
Well, you could have vice versa situation too. How many people were straight doped up that were actually under attack?
Yeah.
And so they just lived in because imagine what that could be. I mean, once again, I have no 100% solid evidence of it, but imagine being doped up and locked in your own mind, but you ain't alone.
Yeah.
You have a dark passenger that's all is clawing at the shell now because it can't go nowhere either. It's doped out of its mind too, or its vessel is. It can't do what it needs to do, so you're just locked in there with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the criteria for possession. I know I've read it before. I know there's a bunch of different stuff.
It's definitely. I wouldn't want to be in the seat of trying to diagnose it.
No, some of the stuff is like speaking a language that you aren't familiar with. Some people even speak language that aren't even used anymore. Having
that's bizarre.
Having like very intimate knowledge about the priest doing the exorcism or the other clergy that are there to help. They'll know things about him that nobody else is supposed to know. Of course, like levitation and telepathy and stuff like that. But it's weird. It is weird.
A valid question by John. What about people that get doped up? Do they become vulnerable to possession?
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see it. I could understand that thought process. Don't know if there's any reality to it, but I can definitely see that.
And like caller mentioned, whenever you're in times of like excessive trauma, things notice, things step in,
yeah.
Things see you vulnerable, and they like to leech, man. They see an opening and they're going to take it. They lock on.
It's crazy.
That's why it's called the devil's lettuce. Yeah. I don't know. The battle of
Pretty crazy episode.
the battle of good and evil rages on. So I don't know. It's hard to put collective thoughts on a lot of this, especially when you step into like the spiritual and moral realms of everything, and then keeping the paranormal within it as well. It gets there's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's a lot. It's a spider web of itself, thinking about it, really.
Which is good. I mean, we should. I feel like if more people kind of thought critically of things.
Sometimes it's good to do both.
Yeah.
Critically and just kind of wildly.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah.
A lot of thinking.
Yeah.
Colleen asked what the book I had here. It's an old book. It's called Invisible Residents. Is There Intelligent Life Beneath the Waters of Earth by Ivan T. Sanderson. Talks about like Atlantis, underwater beings, the Bermuda Triangle. I'm a sucker for old books, old physical media. I have like too many of them.
Definitely. It's weird you say that, because I was thinking about possibly writing about the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh yeah, this has
because it's just OG.
I'm assuming this was written around the 70s, because they have like a collective of disappearances in the northwestern Atlantic, and it goes up to 1969. So would have had to have been after that. Some of these are nuts, like multiple crafts disappearing. This one's fucked up. Discovery of 5 unmanned ships west of the Azores, in the same area where the Mary Celeste was found abandoned. How do you just have 5 ships that have nobody on it?
I don't know, but it'd be crazy to see.
Can one have too many books? Only when you're moving. The only time I've regretted having too many books is when I have to move them, because they are heavy as shit. A lot of them. But the resale book in downtown, I have not sure. I don't think I've even been there, John. My guilty pleasure bookstore is the Half Price Books in St. Charles off of Zumbo. I go over there more than I should and spend more money there than I should, because you find some real gems back in that paranormal section where, unfortunately, it's probably people that pass on and their kin don't want any of their weird, invisible, underwater people books. So they just chuck them in there. But it's almost 10 o'clock. So we're going to probably wrap her up. Yeah, we haven't done a Bermuda Triangle episode. That'd be a ripper.
No, I for some reason I thought about it. I don't know if it's today or yesterday, and I was like, you know what? That's OG of OGs. I might have to try diving into that one.
That'd be a ripper. So, yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. There were tons of calls tonight. That was awesome. Again, my schedule changes Sunday, so that's going to put me working every other Wednesday. We're not sure how we're going to move forward, whether we're going to do it every other week when I'm on. That's kind of the plan right now, tentatively. That's why you need to hit the notification bell. That way when I'm home, we can do it. That way Kyle doesn't have to man the ship by himself, take on that responsibility. So keep that in mind. So next week, I will be working on Wednesday. So if it's not there, we haven't flown the coop. We're just, things are changing. So, yeah.
Looking forward to it, Virgil. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're ready for them. We're ready at this point. 5 years in the game, we're ready. Come with it.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks everybody that hung out. Thanks for the callers. Thanks for everybody just being chill, just kicking it. Man, thanks.
Much love, man.
Everybody that donated. You guys are coming in clutch.
John there got 2.
Just keep in mind, whenever I talk shit on Egress Agent, it's not you, my friend, unless you are an agent of Egress. But even then, I retract what I say if you are, since you're being cool. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody stay safe this weekend. The weather's been fucking bonkers. They're cloud seeding, and it's just making these tornadoes everywhere. So everybody just be safe in all this. I know Oklahoma's taking a beating, Iowa's taking a beating, Nebraska's taking a beating, Tennessee was taking a beating. I know we got listeners everywhere, so just chill with the cloud seeding and the fucking tornadoes. Again, stay safe, stay weird, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.